Hi there. Hey, your head coach, Steve Hawkins. And I thought I'd share an interesting topic with you just for a quick minute. And that's this whole idea of networking. When I say that word networking, what happens to you viscerally? I know what happens to me usually. And that is not my favorite thing. I missed yesterday a networking event that I was actually looking forward to, and it just caused me pause and made me think, what's changed in me that I would even have that response, that I missed a networking event that I was really looking forward to. That's not historically how I've thought about networking, and then so if that's you, I thought I'd share just a couple quick things with you, and first maybe just chat about what your conception and misconceptions were about networking, because I think networking is important. I've discovered that. We can talk about how we would define it, but it's also misunderstood. So I think I lived for a long time without really diving into the purpose of networking and the value and what networking could really be about. I know for me, I kind of spent a lot of time thinking, okay, networking, I'm going to kind of go somewhere and kind of put on this fake persona. I'm going to, connect with arbitrary people. And even if it's online, it's just random people on LinkedIn and even in the recruiting world, talking to recruiters, trying to kind of pitch and even in a B2B space, maybe pitching people that inevitably don't even really want to meet me. I mean, these are some of the experiences I had. And so in my brain, networking just had this negative connection, right? None of that stuff sounds good. And it wasn't good for me. But I had some experiences that kind of changed that. And even my time in recruiting, my time in talent acquisition, I learned through experience that so much of the work we do in putting people, for instance, together with opportunities happens through networking, putting people together, a person who knows a person who knows a person. I read at one point 85% of jobs are filled through networking, not through job boards, right? 70% of jobs aren't even posted. Now, you might be working in a place like I am right now where there's lots of jobs that we're working on in talent acquisition that we're posting. But by and large out there, 70% of the jobs aren't even ever posted. And that's a big number when you think about, okay, so how do we accomplish that? Well, we accomplish matchmaking through networking. And so there's lots of other purposes for networking. But if we just think about the value of talking and meeting the right people to serve a purpose that you may have. That's what we're talking about. And we just have to kind of get over, the hang-ups that we have, maybe the historical barriers like the ones I mentioned that were in place for myself. Sometimes we think, were you born a natural connector? I don't think I was. I didn't feel like I had that natural skill or ability. I certainly wasn't born with an awesome Rolodex that was handed to me, just from my parents or other friends that were just already in spaces I wanted to be in. So I just always felt like I was in a black hole and was kind of skillless socially with being able to have conversations with people I didn't know or ask things of people I didn't know. So let's dive into some things that you can do to kind of hack this and get better at it, and certainly look for support and help in places that maybe you're not looking at all. And the first thing I would say, especially if you're like me and felt like, hey, I'm not a natural communicator with people I don't know, is network with your friends first. All right, and that seems very intuitive, and you might say even, well, Steve, I already know all the things that my friends know. And I would say, I would really challenge you with that. And I've learned that this is beneficial to kind of push against this a little bit, because things are changing for you, and that's why you have this need to try to reach out and connect with somebody different, and your friends can't read your mind. So all the people in your inner circle might not know exactly what's going on for you or your most recent quest, or you need to find a source, an expert for a particular topic. We don't have to be talking about a job, right? We can just talk about an information source or a contact that can lead you to a solution or a relevant person to help you with a problem. All these things are valuable with networking, and the faster that we move towards the mindset that there's somebody out there that could help me, the faster we'll move through some of these things. And so let your inner circle know what you need. Just say, hey, I need to talk to somebody in aging services technology, for instance. And do you know somebody, or do you know somewhere I should reach out to? I would like to talk to somebody in this space. Can you help me out? And start with that. First of all, you're going to be more comfortable talking to them. So it'll give you some practice at kind of getting your new thing out there, your new request, and feeling confident that it's okay to ask, right? That's important. So start with that friend group and activate that, get that going with your new thing. All right. The second thing is to reactivate what I would call loose connections. All right. So we just talked about your inner circle. All right. And now we want to talk about your kind of outer circle. All right. The group of people that you don't connect with on a regular basis, but they're still there somewhere. Maybe it's on your contact list in your phone. Maybe it's even on your email contact list. All right. These are people that sometimes you can kind of go through. These are good places to look through occasionally, by the way, because you'll come across names that you've forgotten were there. And certainly not everybody's applicable when you go through your contact list, but those would be your outer circle. And the thing that's important in contrasting your kind of your outer circle, your loose connections, to your inner circle we just mentioned was important because they can't read your mind, but at the same time, they're going to have the most what would I say, overlapping network circles to you, right? Because you're friends, you share a lot of things, you connect with a lot of the same people maybe. Your outer circle has circles that don't intersect that much, right? And so making sure to ping out to them in a very useful way opens a whole new bit of landscape to you, right? And most of the time I find that they're involved in things you didn't even have a clue they were involved in, or they knew people you had no idea they knew, all right? And so that's really important, because sometimes it's easier to connect with this loose connection group via email. So don't be afraid to use email and just craft a story. Hey, remind them who you are, or I'm friends of somebody and that's how we met, and I just had a question. I was wondering if you could help me. I'm trying to meet somebody in this space, and send that out. And that can be really, really helpful. So check that loose connection group, all right, especially those contact lists. The third thing then is what most people kind of default to, which is social media. Social media is super helpful as well. It just takes a little bit more time to jump in and to find somebody that might be valuable to you, right? And every social media has its own little thing, Twitter searches and LinkedIn searches and some of these other social media sites that kind of have their own little intricacies. So, dive in, play around. But what I have found a common link with all those is to use whatever method technically is possible as far as a direct message to somebody that you find that's an interesting link to what you're searching for, all right? Try to add value to them straight away. What you don't want to do is just make a hard, cold pitch like you're selling something, all right? Because that's a turnoff. As you know, it's a turnoff for you, it's a turnoff for me. But instead, however you found them, somehow you landed on them. And what was that? An article that came up when you were searching on LinkedIn, or a conversation string on Twitter maybe. However that was, acknowledge that and just say, hey, I found your comments very interesting, or it was very cool that you grabbed that article and sent that out to everybody. And I'm pretty impressed how many people kind of dove in and commented on that. Just add something of value. Because of that, I wanted to reach out and say hi, and I'm looking for somebody in this space. I'm looking to make contact with somebody that could do this. Would you know somebody that I should talk to? And I've had great success with that, great success, all the way to people that I never thought would even read my note, because they were so important. So encourage you to do that as well, as far as networking. Again, you could be looking for a person, or you could be looking for a solution, you could be looking for information, right? Whatever the reason you're networking. When we think about networking, often we're thinking about events. But if you think about it, when you're going there, we're looking for people, we're looking for solutions, we're looking for information, often, those events too. We just do it in the slowest way possible by gathering sometimes around a coffee or a glass of wine with a whole bunch of people that were kind of dropped in, and we got to kind of plow through and see if there's one person there that's interesting to us and helpful. So use some of these other methods. I think the last tip I'd give you then too is to make it a purpose to stay in touch. Try to stay in touch. So once you get a little bit of feedback, don't just cast them away like thanks for the favor, I'm never going to touch base with you. One, always send a thank you note. Just a response back that says, hey, thanks so much for putting me in contact with this person. We had a great conversation. Just as a nice gesture, a genuine gesture that you appreciate that. But keep in touch, just that make them a person that's in your loose connection group now, but maybe not as loose as what you experience having to reinvigorate that list, okay? So those are good things as far as networking. Again, I don't know what kind of problem you're trying to solve or what you're working on, but don't be intimidated by networking, all right? There's people out there that want to help us, that want to help you, want to help me. We got to go out and be genuine and ask, and sometimes asking somebody to put us in touch with the person that we need to talk to. So good luck with that. Let me know if you need any help and some other ideas. I'd love to hear a success story as well if you want to share that. So I look forward to seeing you on the other side of the river.